What's going on, guys? This is Burrs. I want to talk to you today about Brownells Aluma-Hyde 2. This is an epoxy based paint versus a enamel based paint that you usually see with other spray paints, and that means you're going to get a tough, more durable finish than you would with just an enamel based paint. Now, the first thing before we get started is, as far as spray painting guns and putting finishes on, for the most part, no matter what finish you put on a gun, it's going to wear off over time, and that's just the name of the game. So you have to realize that you might get a few, I don't know, maybe a year extra out of your paint job if you use Brownells versus a Krylon. But in the end, you're going to be painting your gun if you have it for say generations. If you have it for decades, you're into spray painting it and camoing it, you're going to be doing it multiple times anyhow, whether you use this or whether you use this. Especially if you actually use your gun versus having it sit inside of a gun safe all the time. You're going to be using it, you're going to be going to courses, and it's going to be getting used. So it's going to wear off no matter what you use. But you can definitely get some extra use out of it and some extra life out of your paint job if you use something a little more expensive like this Aluma-Hyde 2. Now, Aluma-Hyde 2 comes in lots of different colors. A lot of people will say, well, what is the equivalent of like an FDE? Because they have earth brown and coyote. And earth brown is going to be your closest match to an FDE. This is earth brown right here. You can see it looks pretty much like a flat dark earth. It is my favorite color. It's a little dark, but I like it. And on this gun right here, on this paint job that Nate Murr and I did, this is an AK-74. This really light, kind of like beige, is not Aluma-Hyde, but the OD and the darker brown and the lighter brown are all Aluma-Hyde. So the majority of this paint job is Aluma-Hyde 2. And what you're going to see is there's a slight sheen if you put it on a little heavy, and you can see that here as well. Just a slight sheen. And a lot of people say, oh, it's not matte finished, it's not a flat finish like ultra flat. And through working with Nate and talking about this at length, in nature there is stuff that has a shine to it, there is stuff that has a matte finish to it. So in the end, it really doesn't matter if you have some part of your gun that's kind of not glossy, but it has a slight sheen to it, versus a complete flat matte finish. So when it comes to actually in nature, you're going to see some stuff that has a slight sheen to it. So it isn't really a big deal if you put it on a little heavy and you get a little bit of a shine to it. But as you can see, this really is a I'd say almost a year round. There's not enough green in here so that it would stick out in the winter, and there's definitely enough browns and different colors that in the summertime it's definitely going to work, at least on the northeastern United States. What I've found as well, if you're going to buy this, I'll give you a tip. The tip is exactly that, the tip. Here's a red one, and here's what you normally get. This is more of a fan spray, and this is more of a standard spray. And if you're going to buy this Brownells Aluma-Hyde 2, you will clog the shit out of this white one that comes with it. It's horrible. And what I found is the red tip sprays on better, and it just applies better, and it doesn't clog. So if you're gonna buy Aluma-Hyde 2, get the red tips. As far as the spray tips come, just buy a bag of those. That's what I did, and I've been really happy with the performance of these. So if you're gonna do it, just be aware, if you don't buy those, you're probably gonna have some clogged tips, particularly if you do it a few days apart from when you're doing the painting, or maybe a week or whatever, and you go back, this tip's probably going to be clogged up. So get yourself some of the red one. As far as how it goes on, there's a few different ways you can do it. The way that Nate kind of showed me, because he introduced me to this, is going and getting the gun warm. You don't want to go outside and paint your gun in 20-degree weather and use Aluma-Hyde 2, or pretty much any camo for that matter. If it's a state of emergency and you need to just spray something down really quick, go ahead and do it. But I wouldn't use Aluma-Hyde 2 in a quick situation. It takes a long time to dry. If you want to do something like that, I would definitely recommend drying 15-minute or less, something like this Krylon. But as far as getting the perfect paint job, you want to get the gun warm. So you want to put it in the oven on like 100 degrees, 150 degrees for maybe 5 minutes. Bring it out and get it set up, and then paint it right away, because the pores are going to be open in your metal, which is going to allow the paint to penetrate a little bit. Obviously it's not going to penetrate into the pores, but it's going to penetrate more than if it went right against a cold surface. You also want to get off all the old paint if you can. and do a real good degreasing. You know, I use acetone for that, and you get that at you know, anything like hardware store, you know, Home Depot, Lowe's, something like that. And just get some nice rags. Don't use blue rags. I've done that, and it comes out with a horrible finish if you use those blue towels that you get, the Scots that you get, mechanical blue towels. Just get some of those towels that you'd find, the white ones at the paint section, Home Depot or whatever. There's rags, and they're just cotton. Wipe it down, you know, and scrub off all this old paint, and you're gonna get a great finish. You know, once you do that, what you wanna do is you wanna put a base coat on real thin. You don't wanna put on a heavy coat at all. You know, you still wanna see the actual finish the first pass. You wanna see just speckles of whatever color you're putting on there. You wanna get done with that, come inside, or if it's outside and it's really hot out, just leave it out there for, you know, 10-15 minutes, or bring it inside, put it in the oven 100 degrees, 150 degrees for like 10 minutes, take it out, take it outside, put another coat on, another very light coat to where you're seeing a little bit less of the metal than you did before. Same thing, and it's just a pattern of in and out of the oven or outside in the heat, and applying it. It's going to take you all day to get the perfect paint job. It's going to last a good long time. You know, once you get done with that, you can hit it again. Just keep doing that back and forth. You know, it's monotonous, but it's going to get the job done as far as giving you a great paint job. Once you get the base coat on, you know, when it comes to camoing, the base coat you put on here is going to be the one you don't see the most. So on this gun, the green and the OD here is actually the color that was the first one put on the gun, and you can barely see it because that's the base coat. Once you wrap it and do whatever camo you're doing, you put a net over it or whatever, the last coat you put on is going to be your main coat. I recommend getting a good base coat on there, and that's going to protect the gun as far as scratches and stuff. Your overlay patterns are really going to be the ones that are going to, you know, kind of be the first line of defense. But as far as longevity, getting the gun warm, or whatever you're doing, the magazine or whatever, getting it warm and open up those pores and hitting it with, you know, a good few light layers, and is going to definitely be the best way to go about it with Aluma-Hyde. You don't want to just coat your gun like super heavy and close, because this is going to look like shit if you use Aluma-Hyde too. It's not going to dry very quickly. It's going to take a week or even more if you get real close. You know, make sure you're far away with your spray, and make sure you get everything. But as far as the performance, you know, this Aluma-Hyde 2 stuff is going to last, you know, much longer than the Krylon, like I said, and the finish that you get looks good. You know, I've had this out the range a few times since I've used it, and you can see that, you know, it's holding up to scratches and stuff. Thrown it in my gun safe with, and yeah, you heard me right, I throw things in. I don't baby stuff. You can see there's a scratch right there from usage, and you know, it's just gonna that's what's gonna happen when you have a gun that you use. So don't expect Aluma-Hyde or Cerakote or Duracoat, or for that matter just regular spray paint to last. But if you're looking for something that's gonna last longer, check out this Aluma-Hyde 2. It definitely is worth it, I think, if you're willing to take the time to put on, you know, the right application, and to really, you know, get that gun camo job right. If you're just wanting to do something really quick, I really don't recommend it, because it's just going to look like shit, and you should really go for Krylon or something like that. It's just real quick. Now, I have mixed them, so in this gun, this real light beige that I talked about is a Krylon or a Rust-Oleum color, I forget which one. So you can see that you can mix and match, and it's really no big deal. But as far as base coats go, I definitely recommend Aluma-Hyde 2 for your base coat for the gun to protect it from scratches and protect the metal from, you know, exposure. Let's take a close-up look at this magazine here. You can see there's some scratches and stuff, but really nothing, you know, major. This has been dropped a few times maybe. These are relatively new as far as, you know, scratches and stuff go. You don't really see too much going on. I recently painted those, but you can see it does leave nice lines when you tape off stuff. You know, it's a nice crisp line, so you know, it's easy to put on as far as the application goes, and as long as you follow the directions I gave you as far as light coat, light coat, light coat, light coat, you don't want to put heavy coats on. It'll come out looking like a champ. So if you guys have any questions or anything, go ahead and let me know. If you guys have used Aluma-Hyde 2 and you have different paint jobs and stuff, go ahead and put those comments down below, or better yet, make a video about it. And until next time, later. Paint that is a epoxy based paint versus that. Wow.